Okay, so here we have MotorStorm Arctic Edge PlayStation 2. This time the NTSC 480p resolution. Slightly different than the 1080p, of course, but still very playable. And this is actually how the original PlayStation 2 looks like when it plays MotorStorm Arctic Edge Virtuos MotorStorm Arctic Edge 2009. Okay, you're all familiar with this menu if you've watched the previous 1080p version. Let's input my name. It's always very hard to hit complete perfect horizontal presses with the D-pad. The PlayStation D-pad is quite abysmal, I think. Well, if you compare it to other consoles, but yeah, I guess the PlayStation really gets it from the double analog sticks and stuff. So yeah, let's do the standard festival and do a couple of races, not as many as the previous, but enough to show you the difference between this 480p version and the 1080p version. Now I've upscaled the capture to 1080. That is, the 480 capture is stretched to accommodate a 1080p screen resolution, so it's not like a blurry mess on YouTube, but it is quite substantially more blocky. Now this blockiness will disappear when you hook up your PlayStation 2 over a component or just standard composite video or even S-video on the CRT. Then the graphics get a very nice organic feel because the graphics are in fact interlaced. And they look better on a CRT with standard definition graphics than on an LCD. As you can see, all the lighting effects are there. It plays very well. And, I think because it's using this high resolution textures and complex models, that it really doesn't matter that the resolution is, you know, the default resolution of the PlayStation is quite a bit lower. Because, well, the motion is very fluid and very playable. Now you could actually, the PlayStation 2 is capable of outputting as high as 1080p video. And there's this boot card that you can actually create. It's a memory card, it's called FreeMcBoot. Whoops. And I crash into the rock face there. It's a memory card, a prepared memory card called FreeMcBoot, and it actually hijacks the PlayStation 2 boot process and allows you to execute code. So you can actually run games off of USB sticks, USB drives, or from an from a hard drive that you hook up to the Ethernet adapter on the fat PlayStation 2. On the slim PlayStation 2, it's not possible to hook up an external or an internal hard drive, but you can use external USB drives, but they're a bit slower. So using an internal drive or just running the games off disk is actually the best way to go about things. Now the thing is that if you use FreeMcBoot, you can use a tool that allows you to set or force the video output to a specific resolution, and some games actually function well with it, and then the PlayStation 2 actually itself upscales to 720p or 1080p. Not all games like to do that, and of course not all code is capable of of running well. But I guess because the PlayStation sort of actually uses, well, finished first, the PlayStation uses some sort of OS with system calls and stuff, it's actually possible to hijack that and use a different code to actually execute the game at a higher resolution. So that's actually quite interesting. So you can actually output games at a high resolution with an unmodified PlayStation 2 that you modify through software. And it's very easy to create a FreeMcBoot memory card, but you do need access to a hacked PlayStation in order to install the things on the memory card, because you can't do that on a PC and stuff. You really need a PlayStation to do that, and but it's fairly easy to get up and running. Now I guess a lot of the finer details, the finer texture details, are actually lost when it comes to playing these games at a lower resolution, but it's actually quite good. The graphics feel very alive, and whoa! That car actually came running, crashing back towards me. And yes, I hit the tooth at the exact same spot for the second time. How is that even possible? Almost crashed into the wall here, but yeah, you can see it's a very nice gaming experience, even on the standard PlayStation 2. Okay, we can drop a bit lower. There's not a part of the track. There's a bit of the wooden scaffolding where you can ride on. I really like the visuals in this game. So this is standard resolution, and as you can see, it's actually quite playable. And for me, actually, I do not really need the highest resolutions to enjoy the games, and I find this perfectly playable, perfectly viewable, and I sort of like the blockiness of the graphics. But what I also like is upscaling these graphics into something that actually is HD. Especially if the games, the third time, oh my god, I'm actually crashing into that for the third time or the second time, I'm not sure, but yeah. But yeah, rendering these games at a high resolution and that these games actually still look good is actually very interesting. You can't really do that well on original PlayStation. I mean, I've done some videos on that. You know, you can use the PGXP texture correction. The wobbliness will go away. Luckily, this isn't the case with the PlayStation 2. Okay, let's go to the lower track. So yeah, you can upscale the graphics for PlayStation 1 through emulation. You cannot make the PlayStation 2 output an HD video, but as the PlayStation 2 supports component video out, and the graphics chip itself is actually capable of outputting 1080p, you can actually make your original PlayStation output some of these games at 1080p. It's possible. You may actually have to do a video on that, demonstrating that, but yeah, and as you can see, finished the race, and I think that this is enough showing the game at standard definition.